The crystalline spires of the Valorian palace stretched toward 3 moons, their silver light casting long shadows across the imperial gardens. Mickey stood on the eastern balcony, his human frame looking small against the towering architecture designed for beings twice his size. He thought he was alone, another human celebration, he muttered to the night sky, his breath forming small clouds in the cool air. Back on Earth, they'd be lighting fireworks for New Year's Eve right about now. He leaned against the ornate railing, crafted from some alien metal that hummed softly under his touch. 6 months. 6 months since the human delegation had arrived at the Valorian Empire, seeking alliance, seeking sanctuary for a species that had barely survived first contact with the wider galaxy. "I shouldn't even be here," Mickey whispered, his voice carrying emotions he'd buried deep. A nobody from Detroit, now standing in a palace that makes Versailles look like a garden shed. What he didn't know was that Princess Wendy of House Valoria stood in the shadows of the doorway, her 4 eyes to horizontal, to vertical, all fixed on the strange human who had captured the court's fascination. Her translucent skin glowed faintly with bioluminescence, a trait of her species that betrayed emotion. Right now, curiosity made her shimmer with pale blue light. Mickey continued, oblivious to his audience. "They all look at us like we're primitive, like we're children playing at galactic politics." He laughed bitterly. "Maybe they're right. The Krell have ships that bend space. The Thorians manipulate gravity with their minds. And us? We've got stubbornness and the ability to digest almost anything." Wendy's inner eyelids blinked in surprise. She'd heard the human delegation's formal speeches, their carefully crafted words about partnership and mutual benefit. This was different. This was real. "But they don't understand," Mickey said, his voice growing stronger. "They don't understand what it means to be human. We didn't get to this point because the universe was kind to us. We got here because Earth was a death world that tried to kill us every single day. And we were too stubborn to die." The princess moved closer, her footsteps silent on the polished floor. "We evolved alongside predators that could tear us apart. We survived ice ages, plagues, and disasters that would have ended any other species. And when we finally reached for the stars," Mickey's hands gripped the railing tighter, "we found out we were late to the party. Every other species had a head start of thousands of years." His voice dropped to barely a whisper. "Everyone here thinks we're weak, soft, that we'll be client species at best, extinct at worst. But they haven't seen what I've seen. They didn't watch human engineers solve problems in days that Valorian scientists said would take years. They didn't see our medics save Krell soldiers using techniques nobody thought possible." Wendy's bioluminescence flickered from blue to violet fascination mixed with something else. "And then there's her," Mickey said, and Wendy's entire body went still. Princess Wendy, the perfect heir, brilliant, composed, destined to rule half the galaxy someday. The princess felt her skin flush with amber light, the Valorian equivalent of a blush. "I watch her in those council meetings," Mickey continued, "and I see someone who carries the weight of billions on her shoulders. Someone who never gets to just be herself. And the impossible thing, the absolutely insane thing." He paused, and Wendy held her breath across 2 separate respiratory systems. "I think I'm falling in love with her." The words hung in the air like stars. "How's that for human stupidity?" Mickey laughed shakily. "A mechanic from Earth, falling for an alien princess from a species so far beyond us that we barely register as sentient. In their oldest texts, my grandmother would have said I'm reaching for the moon, except I've already been to the moon. And the princess is somehow even more impossible." Wendy's mind raced. In Valorian culture, such a confession would be unthinkable. Royalty married for alliance, for genetic compatibility, for the careful maintenance of bloodlines that stretched back millennia. Love was a pleasant bonus, never the foundation. "But humans, the thing is," Mickey said softly, "I know it's impossible. I know there are 1,000 reasons why it could never work. Different species, different worlds, different everything. But humans have made a career out of doing impossible things. We walked on our moon when everyone said it couldn't be done. We split the atom, cured diseases, built machines that think. We survive." He turned his face toward the moons. "Maybe that's what makes us human. We look at the impossible and say, 'Watch me, We love even when it doesn't make sense. We hope even when logic says to give up. We reach for things beyond our grasp because the reaching itself makes us more than we were. Is that truly what drives your species? Wendy finally spoke, her voice melodic and resonant. This determination to attempt the impossible. Mickey spun around, his face cycling through shock, horror, and embarrassment in rapid succession. Your Highness, I wasn't. How long have you? Long enough, Wendy said, stepping into the moonlight. Her skin glowed with a complex pattern of colors that Mickey had learned meant deep thought. You speak of humans as if you're all warriors against reality itself. We're not warriors. Mickey managed, his heart pounding. We're just persistent. Wendy moved to the railing beside him, her greater height making him crane his neck to meet her four-eyed gaze. In Valorian philosophy, we have a concept, Kelvarthon. It means the wisdom to accept what cannot be changed. We pride ourselves on rationality, on understanding our place in the cosmic order. Mickey's shoulders slumped. Right, I understand. I was not finished, Wendy said, and there was something in her tone that made him look up. For 10,000 years, we have practiced Kelvarthon. We have been wise, rational, and orderly. And in those 10,000 years, we have advanced steadily, predictably, and without any true breakthrough. Her skin began to glow brighter, colors shifting in ways Mickey had never seen. Then humans arrived, she continued. A species that should not have survived, that defied every prediction, that accomplished in centuries what took others millennia. And I have spent 6 months studying your people, trying to understand this impossible persistence. She turned to face him fully. Tonight, I think I finally do. You attempt the impossible not because you don't understand that it's impossible, but because you refuse to let impossibility be the end of the story. Mickey found his voice. Your Highness, what I said was honest, Wendy interrupted. Perhaps the first truly honest thing anyone has said to me in years. Not a careful diplomatic phrase or a calculated political statement. Just truth, spoken to the stars. I shouldn't have. Why not? Wendy's skin flashed with bright gold amusement. Because it's impossible. I thought humans specialized in the impossible. Mickey stared at her, his mind struggling to process what was happening. Are you saying? I am saying, Wendy replied carefully, that I have spent my entire life following Kelvarthon, accepting what cannot be changed. And perhaps her colors shifted to a warm rose hue. Perhaps it is time I learned something from humanity. But the council, the protocols, your family, all impossible obstacles, Wendy agreed. Which means, if I understand human philosophy correctly, we simply need to be persistent. Mickey felt a laugh bubble up from his chest, genuine and unrestrained. You want to try the impossible with me? I want, Wendy said slowly, as if testing the words, to see what happens when Valorian wisdom meets human stubbornness. It will either be a disaster of cosmic proportions or something nobody's ever seen before. Mickey finished. Precisely. They stood together in the moonlight, an impossible pair contemplating an impossible future. Above them, 3 moons shone steadily, as they had for billions of years. But below, something new was beginning, something that would have been impossible. Except for one critical factor. Humans had never really cared about what was supposed to be impossible. And now, neither did the Princess of Valoria.